Hi, my name is Dalifah Shahril and I'm an actor in Cerita Cinta.
My name is Effendy and I was the playwright director for Cerita Cinta,
And this is What's in the Scene. Cerita Cinta is a story of a Malay family living in a typical HDB apartment, and there's like a father, mother, two children, and another two characters. That is the dog and the grandfather. Yeah.
So basically, Cerita Cinta it is about dysfunctional family, a Malay Muslim family in a contemporary setting, and it expands on my own research in issues of violence and tenderness and violence. The play, of course, talks about incest, rape, power dynamics between gender and hierarchy in the family.
Baru tadi ayah nak makan?
Belum semua ya?
Ada.
Pergi dapur, jangan makan. Berdiri tolong sekali.
So the event of the dinner takes place, I think, what, 4 or 5 times in the play. So each time it gets progressively violent. So in this one, but every cycle, the two children will be preparing the dinner, which consists of rice and asam pedas. Roslan would then instruct Maslina, the wife, to scrub an imagined blood stain under the table.
Every time before dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
The imagined blood stain was from the very first beating.
The very first beating.
Yeah, that Roslan, very first beating, and that blood, there was a severe beating where she was bloodied and broken. So, and she was definitely hiding under the table, and left a significant blood stain. And so this blood stain was kind of a guilt for Roslan. So he keeps seeing it. So that's basically the routine, the ritual of the dinner. Every dinner that happens. But in the play, the reality is that with every cycle, it gets progressively more violent.
Zakir, Joel, aku lapar
Mana Mami?
Maslina. Aku tahu apa itu binatang. Tapi aku kan binatang, Maslina.
So this scene is the scene where they are preparing the dinner, and that was after she was beaten up. And there was this one. Osman is Roslan's father, and what is interesting about Osman is that it's only Roslan who can see him.
Osman is actually dead, right? So and his main performance area, or the space that he exists, is on the dining table, which also represents the outside of the house. And what he does when he's on the table is actually he'll be standing upright and facing this direction. In that direction is actually an actual kite suspended in the theatre space from another structure. And ideally, I mean, the actual set design was that he'll be holding onto a string which is attached to the kite, and he'll be actually flying using fans to keep the kite floating, flying in the theatre space. But because of some technical issues, we couldn't have the string. So basically, he just stands on the table and
Looking outside.
yeah, looking fondly at the kite. The table is kind of an extension or a connection to the outside world. But it's also kind of the real world versus the the world of the dead, which is the outside world, where the grandfather kind of also exists, where the audiences are.
Lain kali, sebelum aku balik, telefon aku dulu, pesankan beli loko. Ini tinggal 3 batang saja untuk kita malam ni. Untuk aku dan untuk awak. Hei, dah lah tu. Duduk sini. Kita makan sama-sama.
This scene is the scene whereby the kids were preparing for dinner, right? And then yeah, they were coming out from the kitchen.
This is the kitchen is
Yeah,
here.
and then they were making like one.
Yeah, the direction
cycle.
for the whole play is that actually, you know, it's not random direction. Everybody moves around
In one direction.
anti-clockwise direction around the dining table, which also references the circumambulation
of
around the Kaaba.
yeah.
Right. So again, you know, there's those references of you know, the Islamic kind of references, the Malay Muslim context of this play. But this is also after Masina has been beaten by Ruslan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then yeah, so that is where he will always ask everyone to come back to the dinner table to have dinner with them, and then to have dinner with everyone. Yeah. So I think because in a typical Malay family or any other families, whenever you have dinner, is always an important meal. Whereby everyone in the family will come together and sit down and, you know, talking to each other about what's happening in their daily life. And in Cerita Cinta itself, yeah, after whatever happens, when you go back to the dinner table, it is like as if nothing happens. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like what Dalifah just said, you know, the dining table is supposed to anchor normalcy. Also, the food here, as with all my plays, I use real food. There was plain rice and
Asam pedas.
And it was literally, I mean, it's pre-cooked already, but literally heated up every time before the dinner scene. So in the kitchen with the arrow here, the asam pedas is already pre-cooked, but it's always heated up so that the smell of the sweet sour smell of the asam pedas kind of wafts, lingers in the space. So the audience are always conscious and are always, you know, I mean, watching the violence, but at the same time kind of juxtaposed with that, you know, food, smell of food.
Yeah.
So they kind of that kind of tension, palpable, visceral tension, which was interesting. It was nice to watch the audience suffer.
Ibu, mari makan bu.
Me, when I first saw the set being constructed, and finally, you know, it was actually amazing, if I may say so myself. Set it's like
We love it.
It follows, it references the HDB floor plan. So this one has 2 bedroom. The main living dining room is here, which has the dining table and 5 stools because there's 5 family members. There's 2 bedroom, one over here with a bed. This is actually the grandfather's room, Haji Osman's bedroom. There's and then this room is the children's bedroom where they commit incest. In each room there's a window which they can open and close, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a kitchen.
Kitchen.
Here,
Yeah.
with a cooking stove.
With the rice cooker and the stove. Yes,
stove.
we do have a
the rice
stove
cooker
there.
actually cooks and then heats the rice, and then the cooking stove warms the
Asam pedas.
there is a working, functioning kid toilet with a functioning tap. They turn off and off when the characters perform ablution or just to wash up. And then the highlights will be the hanging
The
crocodile underwears. And they actually functioning also with the pole, with the hook here, where they can hook the bamboo pole and then put it up here or whichever, depending whether there's sun or it's rainy day. And then outside, and then there's light bulbs functioning as well, with the light designers help. Yeah. And then outside here, the outside, there's a kind of a structure, a monkey bar, a mini monkey bar where the dog exists within, and on top of the structure is where the kite is, which is, you can't see inside here, but that's where the kite is. So the audiences are on irregular levels, and they are not seated on chairs. They are seated on the platforms
on the
themselves.
platform itself. Yeah.
I think the reason why I made them sit on the panel is just for the kind of intimacy or kind of sense of domesticity, to reference the domestic setting.
Zal baik. Baik. Dia kirim salam. Waalaikumsalam. Bismillah.
It is always Zaki who will always try to be there to protect the mom, to try to stop the beatings, but yeah, it was always halfway through. Whenever he was at that point, he will somehow go to his mom's level where she was either lying down or squatting because of the pain, and he will be there at the same level with the mom. I think somehow he was like trying to protect her, trying to be there with her, to stop Roslan from getting beaten, continuously beating Maslina. Yeah, and it's also a sign for Roslan to stop whenever he sees his son. Yeah. And if you were to zoom in actually or go closer, yeah, you can see this, what do you call that?
Red gayong.
Red gayong. So that's the props that she always uses to clear the the blood stain under the table. And the water that usually that she always take from was the one in the toilet, the one from
toilet.
yeah. Zaki will continuously sitting here, kneeling here until he was instructed by Roslan to actually stand up and sit on the table together, and then have dinner together.
So at the right hand corner, you circle for me?
Yes.
Yeah, you see the grandfather Haji Osman is already outside of the house. I think he's outside the house once or twice. And here he is being helped by the dog character, who is also the boyfriend of Shafiqah. So the dog character kind of takes on dual role, but the dog character exists in this kind of mini jungle gym. The dog character actually is not allowed into the house. I mean, it references the relationship of the dog within the Malay Muslim context, how it's seen as haram or not permissible. Above the mini jungle gym is the kite flying. You ever that? Cannot be seen, but it's somewhere there.
Cannot be seen.
Higher up lah.
Higher up.
So in this scene, Haji Osman goes out and try to reach for the kite, because at this point in time, the imagined string that connects the kite and him got cut in two. So that's why he's trying to reach for the kite to take the kite, because the kite was going to be flying around into oblivion. So that was a short scene from my play Cerita Cinta.
Yeah, and we hope that you have enjoyed it. So thank you for watching. Bye.